Hello there, the name is Mwalimu, aka Simon Lines, and welcome to class. Today's video is about cameras because I have a very simple question for you. Dear photographer, how well do you know your camera? Apart from knowing the brand of camera you use and the model of camera you use, or maybe a few things like how many cards it can take and things like that, or the resolution, how well do you know your camera? Because I came to realize many of us are not making very good use of our cameras because we do not know our cameras properly. For example, you have a very nice camera. For example, you have a 5D Mark IV, you have an R8, you have a D750, D850, or maybe even a D5 or D6 or a Z7 II, and you do not get good images because you do not want to shoot past ISO 100. Yet you bought a lot of you spend a lot of money buying a camera that has a good sensor that you can get a bigger ISO range. So you find that such a scenario, you're making a lesser use of your camera because you do not understand its capabilities. So this particular video I'll share with you guys 5 things that are going to help you make better use of your camera better and help you understand the power of the camera that you own. And number one, like I have written back here, is understanding the physical layout of your camera. So by this I mean, if this is my camera, I should be able to technically know what every button in this camera does, whether for the primary function, for the secondary function, for the tertiary function, or for the custom function. Because I equate taking a photo using a camera to driving a car. And if you're driving a car and you have to look down at your dashboard every second that you maybe have to adjust something, you're going to cause an accident. That also applies to that photographer who does not know the layout of their camera in terms of, this is my off and on button, this is my video record button, this is my composition button, this is my metering button, this is my shooting mode button, this is my playback button, my menu button, my zooming button, my ISO button, my focus button, my bracketing button, my flash button, my custom made button, and things like that. So understanding the physical layout of your camera to the point that you can accurately see and know, you technically know what every button is and what it does is one of the first ways to you understanding your camera better. So that is the first point. And the second point is custom buttons. So what I mean is, when you buy the cameras have levels, and we have entry level, we have beginners, we have entry level, we have maybe some semi pro cameras, we have pro cameras, we have ultimate pro cameras. So as you go higher in the rank of cameras, you're going to find that you're going to customize your cameras. So for example, in the camera that I'm holding right about now, this is the Nikon D750. I have how many buttons I can customize? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for example, one of my favorite customizations on any Nikon camera that has this button right down here, you see this one written FS next to the lens, is I use it for playback. So when I'm taking my photos, instead of me using 2 hands and using the second hand to trigger playback like that, I'm going to trigger playback by just pressing this button right here. So one of the things that is going to help you and make better use of your camera is understanding what custom options you have. That is going to start number 1 with custom buttons that can be customized to do something else. Then point number 3 and directly tied to point number 2 is what we call custom menus. So because for example, if you have a particular set of settings that you love using, for example, the settings that you put in the shooting menu, the image quality, resolution, image area, and things like that, you can save them as a custom menu that can be triggered by you changing into. That's why we have the U1 and the U2 up here. You see the U1 and the U2 up here on the dial. Can you see them? Maybe like that. Yeah, you should be able to see them. So down here we have a U1 and a U2. So those are called user menus, and what that enables you is you can put your own batch of settings that you love shooting with, then maybe for photo, and save them as U1. Then you can also save your favorite settings for maybe shooting video and save them as U2. That means that instead of you maybe going to several menus and tweaking settings every time that you have to you want to use that particular batch of settings, you can save that as a preset and have it saved as a user mode in a camera, and that is going to be helping you make use of custom buttons. So that was the third point, that is the use of custom buttons. So the first one was physical layout, understanding the physical layout of your camera, where each button is and what it does. After that, we talked about custom buttons, and I talked about that. I said that the more buttons that you have that you can customize, the better. So if your camera allows you to customize buttons to your liking, the better. And to go with custom buttons, you also have custom menus, whereby we customize some menus of the camera to our own liking, and you can save it as a different menu that you can always trigger, and it's going to give you as all our favorite shooting settings without having to go to a default mode or a default menu and resetting it again. Okay, so I'm going to go to the last 2 points, and the second last is very important, and that is your focus speed, because depending on the camera that you're going to be owning or using, the cameras we have focus at different speeds. Some of them are very fast, some of them are very slow in focusing, and it's going to be really crucial when it comes to focusing at night or in low light scenarios. So some cameras can pick focus faster in low light. Some cameras are going to struggle to pick focus even in average lighting. So one of the things that you need to know about your camera is how fast does it pick focus, and most importantly, how fast does it pick focus when you have limited lighting. Because if you understand that your camera it struggles with focusing in low light, you have to get alternative ways of getting out of focus in low light. For example, turning on the focus beam. I think this one right here, let me see if it is going to activate. Not so sure. It's very easy to focus, so it will not activate. But normally you have a focus beam that comes on from this particular point, enabling you to focus in the dark. And also some speed lights, for example, the Godox TT600 also has a focus beam that you can activate in case you have focus issues with your camera, because the camera is struggling to pick out of focus in low light. You can activate the focus beam in the speed light, or you can activate the focus beam in the camera. And the focus beam in the camera, I think it only works in autofocus, continuous, or is it single? I'm going to confirm then on the video that I'm going to do about focus modes, and I'm going to really talk about AFC, AFS, and AFA. I'm going to talk about the built-in autofocus illuminator, this one right here, and which mode triggers it in this particular camera. So after that, we have the fifth point, and the fifth point is even more important, and that is understanding the ISO range of your camera. And understanding the ISO range of your camera is not just understanding the minimum ISO and the maximum ISO, because actually the minimum ISO is where we always want to be. But when you talk about understanding the ISO range of your camera, is understanding the maximum limit of ISO which you can use and still get noise-free images, because the same way the speed of focusing is going to vary from body to body. How high you can go on the ISO without getting your images looking very grainy or very noisy is going to vary from camera to camera. So as part of understanding your camera, you need to understand that, for example, I use the D750, and for this kind of a camera, I think if I go anything past maybe ISO 4000, I start getting a lot of grain in the photos. So unless maybe the scene or the photo does not allow me to shoot that ISO and below, I'm going to try my best to make sure that I do not go past the maximum ISO at which my camera gives me a clear image. Okay, so that is the fifth point. Understand, go try it out, shoot a photo at every ISO range on your camera: 100, 200, 800, 2000, 25, 32, 4000, 10,000. Then take note of the point after which you start getting noisy images. And now always make sure that at the back of your mind you remember, I'm not supposed to go past ISO 4000 or ISO 1200 or ISO 12,000, depending on the camera that you use. So it's just sharing a few tips that can maybe help you make better use of your camera. And I said, number one, understand the physical layout of the camera. Number two, understand the buttons. Number three, understand the custom menus. Number four was understand the focusing speed of your camera, especially in low light. And number 5 was understanding the ISO range of your camera, especially the maximum ISO. So ISO for a clean image. And that is the end of this particular video. See you guys in the next. The name is Mwalimu kama kawaida.